This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. I'm Hal Mayer. Now think about this. The Vatican has observer status at the United Nations. When the UN was established in 1945, the papacy did not have the advantage it has now with a neutered Protestantism through the ecumenical movement and a global popularity that gives the Pope's moral voice worldwide influence. Back then, the papacy was considered to be the Antichrist by Protestants. For Rome to be a member of the United Nations then would have complicated her diplomatic activities and consultations, and probably would have generated a lot of protests and hostility. Now, however, the papacy is viewed much differently than back in the 1940s. It is even considered to be helpful and wise nowadays. The Pope is extremely popular too. Presidents, prime ministers, kings, and a host of other rulers of every level and classification revere him. The fact that there isn't the hostility to Rome like there used to be means that the Vatican could well consider a change in her relationship to the United Nations. Cardinal Bernardino Auzu, the acting head of the Vatican delegation who observed the climate talks in Paris, even mentioned it. He said that the Vatican is seriously considering joining the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. While this is not a matter of full membership in the United Nations, it would certainly test the waters to see if full membership would be acceptable. If the Vatican went from an outside observer to a member state, that could bring some sense of the moral side of the story, which often gets lost in the talk, said Jennifer Morgan, Global Climate Program Director for World Resources Institute. This would be significant enough, but think for a moment about the consequences of the Vatican joining the United Nations as a full-fledged member. She already has global preeminence. Would that not give her greater stature? Would world leaders be able to oppose Rome's influence if she was a voting member among them? Would they be able to ignore her moral influence on the world body? Right now, the UN is a secular political entity. But with the moral influence of the Pope as a voting member, the only member of its type, how would this affect the decision-making of the world body? I dare say this would place her essentially as the Queen of the Earth. This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. Thank you for watching.